Okay, welcome to episode 31 of the Freedom Hustles podcast. My name is John Banks. I'm with Andy Lehman from
Hi.
the freedomskillsacademy.com. So, Andy, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. A bit out of breath, just come mushing up after chucking a table outside for someone to collect. But apart from that, I'm doing fine. How's you?
Yeah, I'm good now. Yeah, had a bit of a week off because I had a bit of a cold, a bit of a cough and a cold, and today's climate, you got to be a bit careful, aren't you? But
As long as
yeah,
it's nothing serious.
no, everything's fine. So we missed last week's podcast for anyone that was expecting one. I wouldn't have sounded very good. So we had to give that a miss. But we're back tonight. So what we thought we'd talk about tonight is we're talking about research. Sounds a bit boring, but what actually is really important. And this is for anything sort of content creation wise, in the form of it could be blog posts or ebooks or products or anything really. The kind of number one, the kind of foundation stage before you do anything really is the sort of research element, isn't it? And is there actually an audience?
hmm Definitely, yeah. We did an interview a couple of weeks ago with Jo, who was a writer who basically did her research to find out that it was worth writing her books. And
Yeah,
because she did that, she's now still making money each month off the back of that.
yeah.
Had she just decided to write a book, a bit like I did, where you just sort of have an idea for a book and you write it, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make many sales because it's there are, as you say, niches and trends. Basically, I think that's the best way of putting it into this trend. I mean, thanks to 50 Shades of Grey and those kind of things, there's always been romance books, but there's a big trend now for billionaires, wealthy men, and and I suppose a bit like uh, Pretty Lady, was it with
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman? Yeah, that film, that
Mm.
kind of sort of romance, and there's a big thing for those. And so by doing her research, she was able to nicely slot straight into there and find herself an audience. And yeah, definitely need to do your
Yeah,
research before you start anything.
so yeah, a couple of things I would say starting out. I mean, I can't really talk from a book perspective, but certainly from like blog posts and stuff like that. I mean, I sometimes I do just write because I think you can just write, and there's something that you really want to get off your chest, or it's something that you thought I've got a good idea for this, and you can just write it, and that's not a bad thing, because it becomes something that can be revisited, something you can share later on, something you can link to always.
hmm
So it's not a bad thing to just write stuff, especially from like if you've got a blog or
It's filler content, isn't it?
yeah, and like video, YouTube, and we do it all the time. We just create stuff that we think, actually that would be useful to have that, and it then can become, because we always do this, yeah, like you say, filler content, but you've got like content curation. So later on, that video or that blog post that may not have been necessarily a home run could then be useful for something else. You could perhaps, if it was a video, you could link it within another blog post later on, or you could, don't forget, if you've got like an email list or if you've got a big social media following, you can share this stuff always and forever. As long as it's evergreen and it's worthy content, then
Mm.
there's no real bad thing in. I wouldn't say there's never really a bad piece of content. Like people, oh yeah, I don't, you write stuff, you don't everything gets thousands of views and stuff like that. You just do it because you think it's an important message and that you could put it across in a good way. So that's fine. But then going one step further, obviously, if you want to, if you've already got an audience, if you've already got an email list or a social media following, or perhaps you run a Facebook group or something like that, then ask them. What do they want? I do this all the time. I'm a big believer in this.
Mm.
I ask, my Facebook group, what kind of content do you want? Do you want more tutorial stuff? Do you want more interviews? Do you want more, long form blog content or whatever? And then you can just run a little poll. They can just do a little vote, And then straight away, you've got a little, not everyone's going to participate, but, you've got a little snapshot then as what kind of people want. And then you can kind of gauge off that, and go from there. It's a useful way of starting, really.
Asking questions is a great way of doing research. I've seen it many a times by many sort of big names in email marketing and blogging or Facebook groups, and they often say you should always send an email out saying, "Is there anything specific you need any help with or anything like that?" Because then that actually can become a product. You get a handful of people who basically tell you that we're struggling with X, Y, and Z. Then you can put something together, which I suppose with some kind of sort of law of averages or whatever statistics, if you've got like 10 people in a group who is interested in that, that means there's probably 10,000 people globally who's interested in that same issue. So you've got quite a lot of people who will also have the same problem. So I mean, by all means, that's a great way of doing research: is send an email out, go into a Facebook group. Because I mean, we're all very connected these days. It's different to how it used to be many, many years ago. You could do your research. This is one of the things I like about research with the internet. I was only just thinking this the other day. I can't remember why I was particularly thinking about it, but I was remembering back to when we was at school. And I always remember having some homework, and the teacher set us some homework, which meant we had to go to the school library, go to the town library, sorry. So after school, you get home, then you'd have to get your bags in your bag, walk to the library, go and find the book, sit down, do the work, you come back. And depends on whereabouts you live. I mean, if you're in a village, you'd have to catch the bus or get a lift. So you got, you could be an hour or two just going to do the research.
Yeah.
Nowadays with Google, I can do it while I'm sat on the sofa watching the soaps. Within seconds. I do it all the time now. If I'm watching a drama, I basically go and search for, if I want to find out who's starring in it, the cast or anything like that. Within seconds, I've got the answer there in my hand. It's fantastic what we can do. And it's incredible for, like you say, for research for products. If you want to create a product and you don't even know the product inside out, if you found that there's a niche out there that's really big, say on fasting and keto diets, but you don't know anything about it, you can soon find the information within a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Going into Google and stuff like that, and you don't need necessarily to know the information. You can get it all, and then you can, like you said, curate it into a blog post or a product. You'll find the right keywords that you need, and you're basically giving yourself a winning chance, aren't you? It's basically, you don't turn up to a tennis match without your racket. And so doing the research is giving you the advanced opportunity to sort of, I suppose, relate to the audience.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly that. And then, just going back to questions, I mean, I had literally 20 minutes before this call, I had a guy in a Facebook group that we're in, like a local one to our sort of area. He was asking about, it wasn't website specific or anything like that, but he was asking, I mean, the group wasn't website. It was literally just a group about, like the town, the local town. And a guy was asking, does anyone know any good website hosting providers? Because he's had some problems with his. Now, if you're in that kind of industry, if you're a writer, if you write about, I don't know, marketing or digital marketing or content creation or web design or anything even remotely related to that, there's a perfect blog post for you. Top five hosts in the UK or whatever like that. I happen to have a blog post on that very subject on my web design website. So I just messaged him, how you doing, mate? Here's the ones I recommend. Bang, done. And like you say, that was content that was already there. So I didn't need to do anything about it other than just send him the link. But had I not had that content, I'd go, here we go. There's a question that people are asking. So going back to questions, a massive site is a website called Quora, Quora. Now, this is kind of the sort of question and answer website on the internet. It's millions of views. So, if you went on there, if you went on there, go onto that website within your industry and just type in a few kind of, generic search sort of terms around your industry, and you'll find hundreds of questions that people are asking, and there you go. I mean, there's your starting block straight away. You know, if you're a brand new blog just starting out, head over to there, and I guarantee you got your first 20 blog posts literally waiting. So
yeah. I mean, another thing is like with Google, like you say, as you said about typing in your sort of industry or niche, you get from the drop down menu, you get a list of other questions that have already been asked.
yeah, they're already searched terms. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a quick and easy way to do a bit of research on a subject. You know, if you wanted to do a blog post that was aimed at a specific, going back to sort of keto, and you wanted to think, oh, I want to do it from a different angle or do something different, type in keto diets into Google, and there'll be a drop down of questions, and you think, oh, okay, someone's asked that one, they've definitely asked that one. I'll pick that. I'll write about that. I mean, that is just a very simple way of doing research. I mean, there's all different types of research for different things. Obviously, I mentioned earlier about book writing, going slightly off at a different sort of direction for the research there. I did a video quite a few years ago about using Google Street View for using Street View, Maps, and Google for finding all the information and content to write a fiction book. Because if you decide you want to set a book in Peru, for example, and you wanted, is it Lima? Is it Lima, the capital of Peru?
I think so, yeah.
So you can go to Google and you can do Street View, and you can actually look round the streets of certain areas. So you could actually set the scene, and you could mention certain streets and buildings, and get it absolutely accurate. And you can do that without having to leave your house. That is how incredible the research tools are that we have. But so yeah, I mean, Google is an incredible place for research, but then so is Facebook. Again, it depends on what you're wanting to do, but like for Facebook advertising, as an example, I screenshot loads of Facebook adverts that I see, which are related to the things I'm interested in, and I have a Google Drive full of photographs, and it's a great way of seeing what other people are actually using.
Yeah, there's a website for that as well. I shared it with someone the other day. I think I shared it on my Instagram stories. I found a website which is, because every ad is archived, so and even the ones that are still running, you can get access to them, anyone, and you can literally search them. There's a whole database of ads that you can just search live, Facebook ads, so you can go in literally and see your competition, and see what's working, see how much they're spending, and you can get an idea. You can't see the exact amount, but you can get an idea as to, by looking at, like the shares and the comments and stuff like that. But there's a whole load of them. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail on regards to keyword tools, but there is loads. And like you mentioned, starting out, if you don't want to spend any money, just type into the search bar, what, I don't know, how long should you bake bread or whatever. There'll be a whole load of other queries similar to that will come down on the drop down in Google. It's exactly the same in Amazon. That does another one. And if you go on Amazon, a really nice way of researching stuff, I do this quite a bit, is not I don't do it because I've written a load of books, but I do it just to kind of gauge opinions and sort of get ideas. But if you look at the reviews, so if you look at Amazon reviews on books, or anything, product reviews, go and have a look at the bad reviews. Go and have a look at the 1-star ones, the 2-star ones. Why did it not appeal to that person? What made it, why wasn't it very good? Why didn't they like it? And so on and so on. Obviously, no one's going to like everything all the time. You're always going to get a few 1 or 2 reviews. If you've got a book with thousands of reviews, it's going to have 1 or 2 bad ones. It's just the way it is. But go and have a look at them. Why didn't they like it? And that might be a little kind of opportunity for you. Perhaps you could make something that could appeal to these people, or so on. And there's always ways, and there's always opportunities and for stuff like that.
If their negative review basically points out that they bought the book hoping to find this in it, but it wasn't in there, and if there's like several reviews all saying the same thing, then that you could write a book that includes that, or is dedicated specifically, especially to what they want to know. So I mean, it is a great way of finding information. But again, when it comes to, I suppose, like if you're thinking of doing an online business, or you're trying to sell digital products or anything like that, or blog posts, and another good place to go to find out what is popular is places, I suppose, like Udemy, and is it Linda?
The learning platforms,
The learning platforms.
Yeah.
Because basically, if there's a course and
Yeah.
there's a large number of people who's interested in purchasing them, then you know that there's something there.
Yeah.
Basically, you can ride the ride the coattails, as they call it. I mean, I think I showed you a UK educational platform, the Centre of Excellence, and I'm amazed at how many people are paying for certain courses, which obviously don't appeal to me. But things like couponing, extreme couponing, and sort of there's probably some sort of flower ranging, and the people are paying money for them. So then there's obviously products that can be made out there. There's blog posts that can be made out there, websites that can be made specifically for them, because there's people who's interested in those things. And sometimes it actually helps to, if you want to do research, is to pay to buy a product.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah, I've done that, but yeah, I mean, yeah, especially if you're gonna. That's a good point, actually. That's led me on to something that I wasn't going to talk about, but especially if you're going to become an affiliate for something. I mean, if you're going to become an affiliate for something, don't just blag it and try and guess, what the product's about, and this, that, and the other. It would be. It is much better. You can tell the genuine ones that are, the people that actually have bought it, and they know the product inside and out, and therefore things like research, it doesn't need it because it's second nature to them, because they've already used it. This could be anything. This could be something like as simple as a template pack, up right the way up to like a $500 course. If you actually know what you're talking about, and if you actually know the product inside and out, and then you can do some honest reviews. And I hate the term honest review, because every time I see an email or a video with honest review, I know that it's absolute crap, and it's definitely not going to be one. And there's just going to be an affiliate link there. All they've done is scammed over the sales page. But if you genuinely do an honest review, then you'll be ahead of the pack, definitely, because you know what you're talking about. You know it. You can show people actually what it is.
It makes it makes writing. I mean, if you're an affiliate and you're deciding you're going to write your own sort of sales copy, sales pages, advertisement, YouTube videos, or whatever you want to do to try and promote that product, if you know the product inside out, it's easy to write. Because to be fair, I mean, depending on what niche or industry you're in, as I do, that a lot of sales letters are often written quite vaguely, because they focus on the benefits of the product than actually what the product is itself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I mean, in that respect, a lot of sales letters are all basically saying the same thing. You're going to be wealthy, happy, thin, and attractive, sort of thing. But you don't actually know what the product is or what it's going to do.
What you've got to do, what you actually have to do to achieve X and Y, and
will it involve any more monetary outlay?
Of course.
Yeah. So I mean, like you say,
genuine, honest one, and actually answered some questions that people may have, then you'll probably find yourself in a better position than 99% of the other affiliates. They're just going to basically do a video of the sales page and then throw in some PLR at the end or something. But yeah, I mean, another quick one I wanted to talk about was a tool called Keywords Anywhere. Now, I do buy this, but it is so cheap, it's ridiculous. I think it's $10 for 100,000 searches, which is mental. And it's a little Chrome extension, so you just add it on to your Chrome extension. And I bought it as $10 for 100,000 searches, and I may do that maybe once or twice a year. I'll have to update it. You buy like packs, and what this does is, so you type in your Google query, and then basically you'll get a load of suggested options on the right hand side. On the top, you get how many searches per month, and it gives you a kind of a competition gauge. So this is really useful. So I mean, if you're again, starting out on a blog, or even to a degree, you're going to write a book on Amazon, because that kind of give you an idea as to whether people are looking for that sort of stuff. You can, I think you can do it so that it will search on Amazon as well. I've only got it on the Google at the moment, but yeah, it's a really good tool. It's really simple. It just, it doesn't come up with a load of complex graphs or nothing like that. It just literally the keyword that you've typed in, it will tell you at the top. So if you ask a question, I don't know, can you, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but whatever, type in the question, and then, I don't know, how to lose 10 pounds in a month, something like that. And then you come up at the top, and that exact phrase will tell you how many searches roughly per month that gets, and then what your competition is. So then you can kind of guess, well, if the competition's low, and usually if the searches are low, I mean, let's be realistic. If you're going to get something which has got I don't know, 500,000 searches a month, if you're a new blogger, it's unlikely you're going to be able to tap into that in the first page. But let's say you've got something which is like maybe 1,000 searches a month, or 800 searches a month with low competition, you could almost certainly get that. And you could write your article or your book or your video or whatever you're going to do around that kind of keyword phrase.
It's called the low-hanging fruit sort of thing, isn't it?
Exactly
You're picking a lot of the traffic that other people have decided to ignore or leave. Yeah.
You do 20 blog posts around that kind of keyword phrase, or 20 blog posts around that, similar ones, that have also got, like you say, the low-hanging fruit of similar competition. Then all of a sudden you've got a blog post which, and this is not going to happen overnight, but in 6 months' time you could have a blog which is decent, getting thousands of views a month, proper targeted views that people are looking for. And if you're answering the right questions, if you're solving the problems, if you're, getting people's thinking, then they'll convert, and that's where you kind of start, really.
So that's a keyword tool called Keyword Anywhere, is that right?
Yeah, it's called Keywords Anywhere. Yeah,
and that's $10 for 100,000 searches.
You could buy as many as you want. I'll just run a quick check, but yeah, it's you can buy obviously however many you like, but yeah, additional credits. So mine, $10 for 100,000 credits. Yeah, or you can spend. It goes up and up, but basically, a credit is a search. So I just leave mine on all the time. Yeah, so if I just do a query, if I just search for that one I just checked, what did I say? How to lose 10 pounds in a month. Got a feeling this would be high. So this tells me there's 339,000. I know, 78 million results. But this is just the Google research. But there's your volume. So the volume for this query is 12,100 per month, which is quite a lot. So, you probably wouldn't go near that. And then there's a little competition gauge there, which is obviously the lower the better. This one's on 23. But, you can get stuff which it will say like volume 850, competition 0. So, and that's perfect. So there's your kind of a starting block. It's not going to work every time. There is a bit of an element of, I'm not going to claim to be an SEO expert, because I'm not, but I have done this before, and I've used this exact strategy on my blog, and I've written, posts around this using this Keyword Anywhere tool, and they rank now. So, and that's all I've done. But they're not going to be big hitters. You have to, like you say, be a bit, go after the low-hanging fruit. But again, if you do that 10, 20, 50 blog posts, you're all right. You'll be on a winner.
You should get quite a lot of traffic. It's quite a good tool by the sounds of it, because it used to be quite expensive getting keyword tools and paying for them.
Yeah.
There's another tool I heard about the other day. I've not actually tried it myself, but I heard it in a podcast. A copywriter used it quite a lot, called similarweb.com.
Yeah, I know.
So when Hivy was writing a sales letter, he wanted to basically find out what the competition websites were like in that niche.
Yeah.
And so, for example, if he was doing a sales letter to do with sticking with the keto diet as the example, he would type in the certain sort of keywords that's related to the sales letter he's been asked to write, and it would pull up all the websites, and he could see if they've got sales letters, if they've got information, and he'd be able to pick through and find extra research for his sales letter. I mean, that was called SimilarWeb. So I took a note of it. I shall be having a look at that sometime.
That's a really good site. Yeah, I know that one. It's really good.
You use it quite a bit, have you? Or?
Yeah, I've done it before. You used to be able to generate reports and stuff with it. I don't know if you still can, but yeah, and you can kind of, if there's a massive website with a load of traffic, it kind of tells you like how much of it's from social, how much of it's from search. So you can kind of get an idea as to where they're getting their traffic from, and you might be able to build a little demographic up. But yeah, I mean, obviously you can go as detailed as you want. They definitely will have premium options if you wanted to pay and go a bit deeper with it. But yeah, so these are all tools that are available. Like you say, free stuff. Literally, your search engine, that's free. Go and have a look at just type in some searches. Same with Amazon and all the big. I mean, anything that's got a search bar in it, really. I mean, I don't know if Facebook do it. Not so much, do they? They you can search for random posts, can't you? I think, but
I've never really liked Facebook search. There's always been I don't know if they've always been a bit panicky of dealing with Google trying to,
I don't think,
it was never really good. So if you want to do searches in Facebook, you can find groups, and then you go in groups is probably your best option.
Yeah, just thinking then one which we've talked about loads, which is amazing, is Pinterest. So that's really good now. That's obviously a search engine. And that will do exactly, like Google does now. So if you go into the search bar on Pinterest and type in, start a phrase, I don't know, how to lose weight, you'll also get, how to lose weight quickly, how to lose weight fast, how to lose weight in a month, how to lose weight in 2 months, how to lose weight before weddings. Then you know what I mean? So then all of a sudden you've got these, possible queries and stuff that you can kind of start, your content around.
And the good thing about Pinterest as well is it's kind of like a bookmarking site. So you can also get access, not only, sometimes they're just on images, but you get links to all these other great posts which you can
brilliant.
further research.
Brilliant. It's actually a really good search. It is a search engine now. I know it started off kind of as a social media sort of scrapbooking, bookmarking type. Yeah, but now it's a big search engine. People go there to look for solutions to problems. So like they use Google and YouTube and all that for now. So yeah.
I forget how powerful Pinterest is. I need to go more often. It's one of them things I don't generally use a lot of, but there's a lot of stuff on there.
So just a quick one then before we wrap up. Another one I wanted to say was, at the beginning I talked about, or we were saying about, it's okay to just write stuff. That is perfectly fine. I'm still a believer in that, and I know you are as well. I think that should be almost part of your kind of content marketing strategy anyway. I think just write some, some things you just want to write and just get it done. Because like I think certainly with platforms like YouTube and that, not everything works anyway. So it might be, and even to a degree, books. If you're writing books, or if you're selling books on Kindle, or even if you're just doing like low content books that we talked about, notebooks or journals or coloring books or whatever, they're not all going to be home runs. They're not all going to be big hitters. None of them. No, not none of them, but there's no way that all of them are going to succeed. So, and we've talked about the 80-20 rule loads of times, and that is, that does apply. So you might find that you do 20 books, 20 blog posts, 20 videos, and you might only get one or two that really kind of resonate and take off, and that's. But then that is research within itself. You've done that work, then take a step back, then look at everything you've done, and then you can kind of look at the stats and look at the analytics of stuff, and you can go, hang on a minute, well, yeah, that blog post is getting the most traffic from Google. That YouTube video's got the best thumbnail click-through rate. All this data is available, and then you can kind of build off that. Kind of, okay, so I'll make more of those, or I'll write more of that type of content, and it's all there. How it kind of revolves.
We've talked about doing the research for your main post, but like you say, that's a very important form of research yourself. Once you've done so much of your own stuff, to have a look back and see which ones are doing better, and then you can do more of them. Just going back to the sort of the filler content that you was talking about, I agree completely with what you're saying, and that is there's a reason why if you can't think of anything, if you haven't got anything researched, but you want to write something, just write and get a blog post out there, because basically, I can't think of the word now. Fresh content going out regularly is good. It's good in the eyes of Google. It's good in the eyes of people. So even if it's not well researched, even if it's got no particular topic and you just want to get something on online, you write it. Secondly, it can be used, like you said, later on in as probably as an email. You could use it in a book. But also there's sometimes you just never know which article is going to do particularly well, because you can research keywords and write something and it not particularly do as well as you was hoping, but then you could write something not knowing, and then you can start getting traffic from it without realizing. Because I did this many years ago. I was writing an article to do with, it was to do sort of personality and psychology. It was to do with people moaning about not having the money to go on holiday and do stuff, but the amount of money that they wasted over the year could have paid for that holiday 5 times over. And so it was a piece of, I was writing about certain people I knew. I sort of morphed several people into one character, and I called him Ibiza Bob. And the article was called The Story of Ibiza Bob, and I mentioned it several times. I landed on the first page of Google for the story of Ibiza. And I started getting traffic to this website.
Wow.
And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I looked and I saw, and it was the story of Ibiza. And I couldn't figure out why. And I remembered that writing this article about the story of Ibiza Bob, and I had actually landed on the first page of Google. It probably wasn't a huge search term, but because of Ibiza is a big thing, there's obviously
you might have got some seasonal traffic.
Yeah, well, I was getting traffic from this keyword out of nowhere, and I was getting quite a bit, and I was on the first page of Google for the story of Ibiza.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it was nothing to do with that, but that was people who was coming to the website completely by accident, who could have had a look around and thought, oh, that was interesting.
I remember when we were doing our the sort of satirical blogs, and on one of our websites, you done a post about like alien abductions and like UFOs, and loads of weird stuff like that. And we never had any intention of ranking on Google, because it wasn't those type of blog posts, whether they were just hashed together, almost comedy value. And I remember you ranked on that for like UFO abductions or some shit. That was like, thousands of views. All these people like, I've been and that wasn't the point at all, was it? But
and to be fair, that's quite a big niche as well. Quite a lot of been talk about UFO alien abductions for years, and to land on those pages just with. But that's what we mentioned earlier, the low hanging fruit when it comes to keyword phrases. You can get a lot of free traffic from researching certain keywords because majority of people not so much now, but a lot of people, if they're say wanting to sell a product where you lose weight or you make money, their targets are often how to make money or how to lose weight. They try and target them. Then there's so many other keywords available where, as you said, you could be something like how to lose 2 pounds a day eating avocados.
Yeah.
That is completely different to, how to lose weight.
Yeah.
But that could get you a stream of traffic, which could probably pay far more than trying to target the ones that are saturated.
Trying to being on page 53 of how to lose weight. No one's going to search past page 1, do they? But
no.
Okay. Well, that's a good little post tonight. Hopefully you got some content and some ideas, and some tips. Thanks very much for listening. You got anything to add finally?
Well, basically, this is our equivalent to a filler post because
Exactly that.
we've talked about it. You know, it's been useful, it's been fun, it's been enjoyable. We've actually given some good value and some good tips and ideas out there. But it was one of those things like, what should we talk about? And this came up, so it's it's been good. So just
living exactly what we've talked about tonight.
Yeah. So again, what was that? Episode 31. So thank you very much for listening, and we shall speak to you again next week.
Thanks very much.